Everett Reuss was a wanderer. In 1934, the young artist vanished without a trace in the wilderness of southern Utah. The first search, just after his disappearance, turned up his 2 burrows and his campsite, but his body was never found. Even though he disappeared at only 20 years old, he packed a lot of living into his teenage years. He explored the American West and produced artwork, poetry, and letters to his family. But his legacy is much more than this. His fierce independence and cravings for the solitude of the wilderness are what make him such a timeless and captivating figure. Following in the spirit of his wanderings, we've come to embark on a different kind of outdoor adventure.
A few years back, John Dyches and I had a conversation about paranormal, and he's very engaged in it. And I brought up the story of Everett Reuss and how it was such a mystery over here on the Escalante Desert. A youth that disappeared in 1934. He's never been found, he's never been solved. There's been so many different approaches about his disappearance. It's fascinating. It's a fun challenge to go see if there's some evidence to find otherwise what happened to him.
Sam approached me a couple of years ago with the story of Everett Reuss, and we kind of thought we'd take a different approach, kind of more on the paranormal side, see if we can make contact with Everett. I've had my first paranormal experience when I was in 7th grade, so it's kind of been with me my whole life. About 2014, I really started investigating a lot, and I enjoy the investigation. For me, it's fun to piece the history with the paranormal at these locations.
Sam came to me and said, we ought to go find Everett Reuss. So with encouragement from him and some stories that he told me, I was very intrigued. And we find it fascinating that there's that much history about him out here, and I had no idea. And I'd never been on this side of Hole in the Rock, so it was an adventure for me and my wife to come down here. And we appreciate Sam getting us involved. It's been a great experience. Well, he was kind of a vagabond and a traveler throughout the West. He wrote stories and he wrote letters to his parents, and he was an artist and very, very intelligent. At 17 years old, really wanted to get out and explore. It was just fascinating to me that someone at that age could be that adventurous.
We grabbed a couple books to read about Everett and to find out about this adventurer. And over the last couple of days, we've read and listened to and feel like we've kind of come to know him a little bit.
Well, growing up in Escalante, we heard all the rumors and the cowboy stories, and every few years there's more interest that creeps up, and we're getting close to 100 years of his disappearance, and we know it's just fun to get out here and backpack and stay overnight with good people.
We camped in the most beautiful area I think I've seen in years. Absolutely beautiful.
And actually being able to walk kind of the same area he was walking in, maybe feel some of the same things he was going through. It's pretty incredible.
We just had a panoramic view. The moon came up like we hoped. John worked on his equipment and took us out for a very interesting educational experience that I was glad to be part of. It was fantastic.
So the devices we had last night measure energy spikes, and we try to communicate with the spirits by having them manipulate those devices.
It was very interesting. When Sam started telling me what we were going to do, I thought, well, wow, that's kind of weird. But as we went through it with John and Janessa, it wasn't strange. It was actually very educational and cool, I guess is the only word. It was really a neat experience. We were just watching John and his daughter do their thing, and what a gift they have.
I'm kind of an empath, so I feel a lot as we investigate. Last night it felt like I would walk through an energy area, and then it seemed like it would just kind of off to the side watching us. Janessa's more of a medium. She can see a lot more than I do. I went into last night's investigation like I do every investigation, kind of skeptical. You know, I like to be proven what we're finding is right, and You never know what's gonna happen on an investigation.
I was able to see a male, I don't know what his name is, but he's brunette. He's very tall, he's like 6'2". He looked like he had an injury on his right leg, and you can see his like muscles and tendons kind of like ripped up and bloodied or whatever, and his shirt's ripped up. And he just looked lost, but from talking to him, I think he's out here because he lost a loved one close to him, and he's trying to find her still from his accident.
It was a great night, the moon was perfect, and just being out in this country was awesome.
Yesterday, as we were getting to know John and Janessa, who are amazing people, it was fun to learn about the gifts that they have. We didn't contact Everett, which was okay, because that will be another adventure. But we did watch John and Janessa do some pretty amazing things and contact a young man that, you know, is going to be pretty exciting to see where that story goes and who he is and who he's looking for. It was just really such an amazing evening.
Utah's got a lot of hot spots, and what I've found through my research and investigating different places, a lot of these areas tie together with the early Mormon settlers and the army that was out here for a while. And it's funny how these different locations kind of tie together. There's a lot of energy here in the state of Utah. I think it's just the roughness of the land, and it's left an imprint on it. Get outdoors and explore. So we search ghost towns, we do paranormal investigations, kind of just tie it all together. And in the meantime, we get to travel to beautiful locations around the state.
Getting out and into the wilderness is for everyone. You can make it whatever kind of experience you want, from boating to off-roading to ghost hunting. Almost 100 years later, Everett's thirst for adventure and natural beauty still inspire us, but his disappearance is still shrouded in mystery.
My gut feeling is his body's never been found, and I think it was on purpose. So I think everything leads to maybe he came up on some cattle boys that thought he was a ranger, deputy, and got nervous and done away with him. That's my personal opinion.
Well, my opinion differs from Sam. I think he married a Navajo girl and lived out his life and told everybody not to tell him where he was.
My personal opinion differs from both of theirs, from Sam and Dennis's. I think that maybe he became weakened, and I honestly feel like maybe he has fallen and passed away, and maybe one of these days we'll find him.
Well, I think the mystery is not solved yet, but I think with a little more effort, maybe a few more trips to go in and try to find a little more of evidence of where he's been.
There's a bunch of different claims of what's happened to Everett, and I'm kind of on the fence right now. I don't know if Everett will ever be found. He was kind of that way in life, wanted to be away from people and just enjoy the beauty of the land. But we're going to keep trying to find him.